Today, a new liquid cooler, and so it comes, Enermax has yet again released new AIO liquid coolers a while ago. This time around, pretty attractive ones, not only in terms of pricing but also when it comes to aesthetics. One of those models happens to be the one I'm looking at today, this being the Enermax LiqMax 3 RGB 240. Right now, I believe the pricing is at around 70 to 75 US dollars, if I'm not mistaken. So this happens to be a liquid cooler more on the cheaper end. We consumers love that. However, at the same time, questions and concerns start to arise. How good can a $75 cooler actually be? Today's LiqMax 3 RGB for sure isn't bad, but it really doesn't offer anything that we could possibly consider spectacular in any way. There even are one or two downsides to it, of which we'll talk about in this video. Right off the bat, I'd like to let you guys know that there could be some confusion happening with the naming of these products. At least at the time of writing the script, there's only an RGB version in the LiqMax 3 series when choosing the 240mm radiator. If you decide to go for more cooling surface and therefore grab the 360mm variant, we are suddenly talking of a RGB that's addressable RGB lighting. As you guys know, these are two very different types of RGB, of which the addressable one is the far more advanced one. Unlike we're used to from Enermax, we don't see as much included anymore. I mean, the essentials are still there, but in my opinion, what's missing in this price range, especially for novice builders, is an RGB controller. We do not get one with this unit. Sure, not all actually need one, since many more modern motherboards already do come with such a 4-pin 12-volt RGB header, but nonetheless, I just wanted to point this out real quick. The radiator, as well as the pump unit, or rather water block, seem very similar to what we've already seen on a number of Enermax models previously. So if you expected different kind of looks here by this manufacturer, you will be disappointed. However, I don't think this is a bad thing. I kinda like it when brands stick to their own unique established trademark look. Aside from that, Enermax, at least for my taste, still makes the most gorgeous and elegant water blocks. Other than that, we are getting an aluminum radiator with the usual dimensions, or rather thickness, of 27mm. The pump unit, as we are used to, comes with a copper base, by the way. Also, this is the so-called aura-built water block we're looking at, meaning it comes with plenty of lighting. Should you happen to prefer a more neutral color, just don't connect the block to any RGB cable or header, and the color will go all white instead of all RGB, you know? If you, however, want to fly the latest flag of red, green and blue and take part in the trend, you have to connect a cable to that water block in order to control the lighting. It's all included. Praiseworthy is the long, nicely weaved and apparently quite durable tubing out of polyamide rubber with multiple layers. The fittings, on the other hand, are pretty ordinary, no metal ones, neither on the water block nor on the radiator. At a price of just $75, very understandable. Anyway, the pump features a ceramic bearing and a pump speed of 3100 RPM at max. And as is to be expected, all the current recent sockets are fully supported, well except for TR4, or rather STRX4 for AMD's Threadripper CPUs. When it comes to the installation, I can't complain. The whole procedure more or less has been brought over from previous Enermax cooling units. All is kept fairly simple logically and only very few steps are required. And I guess we've come to the point of where we talk about the test results. Traditionally, as always, I'll first carry out testing with my overclocked Intel i7-7700K, and then I'll move on to the AMD Ryzen 7 3800X. Those results paint a better picture for most of us. So to keep myself from rambling along, let's check out the test results and take a break from my voice. Well, it turns out the LiqMax 3 RGB, the 240mm version, doesn't really seem to be all too special, as you've seen. By that I mean, this unit by no means is to be considered bad, but neither can you call it super attractive in any way. This liquid cooler simply does a good job for its price, but can't really offer anything else that would stand out from the rest of coolers. For 2019 or rather 2020 standards, we could be calling this cooler too normal or too ordinary. A lot of that is due to the fact we get the slightly dated 12V 4-pin RGB lighting on here. Once you've seen the more advanced 5V addressable LEDs on modern products, the difference in terms of effects and customization options are like night and day. Now, I don't want to put this specific AIO unit down, no, don't get me wrong. For $75 or less, it delivers pretty respectable cooling performance. It certainly can keep up with the top-of-the-line AIO liquid coolers as well as air coolers out there, and is rather quiet in operation. At idle, it's close to inaudible. That applies to both pump and fans. But even at full load, I didn't experience too high or annoying noise levels in my opinion. One of the downsides for me certainly would have to be the slightly dated RGB lighting and the fact there's no RGB controller included for folks with older motherboards. A very simple, small controller surely would have done the trick. As for lifespan, as always, I hardly can tell you anything about it. Only a long-term test could give answers to that. However, to me at least, today's LiqMax 3 appears to be pretty well built. Nevertheless, what I'm missing here is some sort of wow effect that I've come to expect when dealing with Enermax liquid coolers. The LiqMax 3 RGB 240 is a great all-rounder, but at the same time it also appears a bit boring, which is why I'm not giving it gold, but instead my silver award. But let me tell you guys, the 360mm ARGB version is looking a lot better than today's 240mm variant. A review will follow sometime soon, hopefully. With that being said, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.